got our first opponent already against Eterna, who is ranked 9 as well. Probably a lot of people jumping on here. So we got Whimsicott as well, but we got a Moongus, Fluttermane, Iron Hands, Walking Wake, and Urshifu. My guess would be it actually is Urshifu Dark, but we'll have to see when we get into the battle. I could see Water as well, but with Walking Wake, I don't know why they would need double Water coverage here. With that, I definitely see this person trying to set up Sun, especially with Whimsicott and Walking Wake. That also allows Fluttermane to be really strong. Poison, Terra, Terrakion could work, but I think it depends on when I want to bring it out. I don't necessarily need Melodic as much. Incineroar doesn't really help out, except for Fake Out Pressure. So I feel like I can drop those two, and it would be like the Dragonite, Terrakion, Whimsicott, Golden Go core. The question is, where do I lead with what? My thought process is I actually lead Golden Go, Whimsicott, and then Dragonite and Terrakion on the back. That means I can switch into Dragonite or Terrakion. One problem is if it is Fluttermane, it might be a little bit harder to switch, but I can always Terra Golden Go, get a really strong Make It Rain off with Tailwind, and hopefully be able to dunk on Fluttermane that way. So we'll go this route. This Golden Go is a little bit different than my... Oh, actually, no. I'm using my personal Golden Go, so this one actually has Trick instead of Doubtslink Gleam. I have to remember that. So it's a little bit different than the original team, just because I use my own stuff. Usually I don't like to use rentals. I'll modify them just because people get used to, oh, I know this rental team, and they can just look at the pace as they battle. So I usually don't like to do that. Alright, so they are going to be leading Fluttermane, I figured, with Whimsicott. And I got Golden Go in my own Whimsicott as well. So this seems pretty straightforward. I could just Steel Terra, Make It Rain, and then go for Tailwind to copy that. I probably could just do Steel Terra, Make It Rain. I could use Tailwind, or I could switch out, but I don't like the idea of switching now, just because both Pokemon are pretty strong. Let me see. I mean, besides Iron Hands and Walking Wake, not much takes to Make It Rain really well, and I feel like I can still get a huge advantage off here, so I'm gonna go for it. Seems pretty straightforward. We don't see any Protects, or we don't see any Terras from the opponents then, so they're gonna be taking a pretty strong attack here. So we'll have to see what happens there. I had a friend DM me a paste. I'll have to take a look at that later. So, I set up Tailwind first. I'm curious if they're going to use Tailwind or not. Okay, yeah, so we are going to match Tailwind. Fluttermane is going to get an attack off, but it probably is not going to be enough. Yeah, Shadow Ball. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to be knocking out Fluttermane here. Sure. Alright, and I unfortunately lost some of my special defense. And I gotta fire off this Make It Rain. Okay, so Flutter is gone. And that actually makes it pretty easy for a Dragonite endgame. And Whimsicott naturally does have Focus Sash, so it's going to go down, it's going to be brought to Sash, and I get a knockout Fluttermane. So that's really a nice turn. I'm able to get a big knockout. I think in that case I could have gone for, like, potentially the beat-up combo, but that means Terrakion would have taken a lot of big hit. So we're going to actually see Walking Wake here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Sunny Day plus an attack. So I'm actually going to switch out into Dragonite, and then I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Moonblast into Walking Wake. Yeah. I think in this case, I actually don't need the beat-up combo. I think just hitting Walking Wake for a good amount of damage is going to be helpful. Walking Wake would have to probably Terra Water. If it tears Steel, that would resist it or Fire, but if it decides to stay as a Dragon type, then that'll be helpful. Yeah, we do expect to see a Terra here. If it's Terra Water, probably then you're going to set up Sunny Day to go from there. But I can do some decent damage here. So it is actually going to be a Terra Steel, which is good to see. Actually, it's kind of nice. That means that Golden Go gets to reset whatever attack it wants to do. Whimsicott does set up Sunny Day, as expected. Photosynthesis activates. Yo, what is up, Profi? Great to see ya. And a special attack that's being boosted. I get to fire off my own Moonblast, so I'll do some light chip, not a big amount. And we are going to get Flamethrower. Perfect. I resist that, and I take that comfortably. And your Life Orb as well. Okay, so at this case, I think what I want to figure out is what I want to do to knock out. Do I need to knock out Whimsicott, or do I need to go after Walking Wake? I feel like their Whimsicott isn't going to offer too much here, so I'm actually going to Stomping Tantrum, and I'm going to Moonblast their Oh, you know what? I gotta play. I'm gonna Stomping Tantrum, and I'm gonna... does Misty Train... Misty Train helps my own Terrakion. So, I don't mind Misty Training for now. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, there, a Walking Wake decides to protect, which is totally fine. Misty Train goes up. This also helps lower any physical dragon. So, okay, sir. Whimsicott gets a KO with that Moonblast there. Okay. Alright, I think now I can bring in Terrakion. I think one of the problems actually is that their opposing Whimsicott does have offensive pressure now. I'm gonna close combat into Walking Wake. I think track is 124. Special attack boosted. Okay. I'm gonna try to get a double KO here. Alright, so my thought process here is that I should be able to outspeed Walking Wake. Whimsicott withdraws, which is totally fine here. I do not mind. And it's going to be Iron Hands. Okay. I get a fire off a pretty good Moonblast on Iron Hands, which is nice. And then I do outspeed Walking Wake and I get the KO. Yeah, I figured because of a speed booster, I was able to do that, which will be really helpful. So, yeah, I get to lower its special attack and special defense, which is great. I lower my own special attack and defense, but I'm able to knock out Walking Wake, which is awesome. My Tailwind's over, the opponent's Tailwind's over, but they have lost a good amount of resources to be able to deal with me. So, I think in this case, I feel confident in... I don't even need to worry about Fake Out on Terrakion's side because of... Okay, what am I worried about? You decide not to... You know what, I will close combat Iron Hands. And I'll switch out into Golden Go. You can only fake out one of my Pokemon. I don't think I need Tailwind in the long run, just because Iron Hands is relatively slow. And this close combat should do a good amount. I can get Tailwind later. Okay, so I still outspeed Iron Hands, which is great. And so Iron Hands probably is going to try to go for Drain Punch into Terrakion? Yeah. Alright, so that's a lot of HP healed up. Okay. One thing I do... Okay, so I know that my Terrakion outsped their Iron Hands. I don't think Golden Go would naturally outspeed. I need to double check speeds, but I'm pretty sure. Golden Go sits at 130, 176. Okay. So I don't want to take that chance. I don't mind doing Tailwind. And I'll fire off Make It Rain. Hits both of them. Makes their Whimsicott no longer a threat. And then Whimsicott can actually beat Iron Hands, which is really funny. So Whimsicott actually goes for Taunt, which is totally fine here. I can't set up Tailwind. Ah, they did find a win condition. Oof. Well done for my opponent for coming back from this. I think one of the things I greatly underestimated was Whimsicott staying on the field for a little bit too long. It didn't exert as much offensive pressure. Sunlight's over, but that doesn't really matter. Whimsicott's going to naturally attack with Moonblast. I already used up my Terra. Yeah. And then that's Heavy Slam coming my way, right? Yeah. Dang. Okay. Alright, so, reflecting on that battle, unfortunately we started the stream with a loss. I think the turn that I attacked a Terrakion would have been a good turn to go ahead and set up Tailwind. That would have been a great call out to just, Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And I think that I was ahead, and I could have used that opportunity to keep the pressure going. Recognize, hey, I can set up Tailwind, or I could have doubled up into Iron Hand, saying, you know what, you can only fake out one Pokemon. I'm going to go ahead and Tailwind plus Moonblast. I was worried about fake out on Whimsicott, but in the long run, I don't think I should have been worried about that.